Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Destiny. Today I really wanted to film a what's in my makeup bag video and show you guys some of my tried and true favorite products of all time, as well as some new products that I've been loving lately. So let's just do a quick universal everyday makeup routine while we go through the products. Like and subscribe for more. First of all, this is my makeup bag. This Rare Beauty makeup pouch is a black hole. It literally fits everything. Granted, it will make your traveling a lot heavier. I think it weighs like 5 pounds. Before I started using that Rare Beauty pouch, I was using this one from favs. I loved this one till the zipper broke. But I think I used this one for like 5 years. Before we get into the makeup, we know skincare is the most important part of the base even before primer goes on. So my favorite moisturizer that I feel like no matter how much makeup I put on doesn't pill at all is by Kiehl's. It's super hydrating and calming. I figured while I go through these products, I could just kind of show you also my everyday makeup routine. I love doing all kinds of looks, but all my looks are kind of a variation of my basic routine. I feel like I can build on it depending on how much makeup I want to wear that day. I felt like something was missing. It was my rings. And side note, how cute is my cup? For primers, this one has just simply become my favorite. I recently tried this little cooling water jelly. It's so hard not to just bite into it because it literally looks like one of those push pop candies, but this is like a skincare stick. It's cooling, it's really nice. I should keep this in the fridge. After a night out on the eyes, girl. Now we go in with our primer, and it's important to note, depending on what kind of foundation you're gonna lay on top of this, you want to use a compatible primer. I learned this the hard way. If you use the wrong one, you'll notice your foundation kind of just like peeling off your skin. e.l.f. has a dupe for this one that I was using before I got gifted this one, and I think it works just as well. The point of this primer is gripping the makeup, so it's gonna make your skin tacky. Now, I'm typically an illuminator girly through and through. I love the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. For the past year, the Lumi Glotion by L'Oreal has been my favorite. I don't use this as much in the winter as I do in the warmer months, but let's put a little on today. And it's gonna make us look crazy for a second, so just bear with me. An illuminator is so nice because it makes your makeup glow from underneath. So before we go any further, I usually actually start with my eyebrows. And this product right here, bury me with this in my hand. But what I like to do is gel the brows up and kind of give myself a laminated brow. Whenever I use this product, I literally get asked where I get my eyebrows laminated. And before they're dry, I take a spoolie and I just go like this to shape them. Okay, now we have every hair where we want it. There's some sparse areas that we're gonna go in and fill later on. If we were to do this after foundation, we'd be just smearing the foundation all around into the product and it'll make a mess, ruin your applicator. And now before I go in with foundation, I like to take my favorite complexion stick. This is by Ilia in shade 10C. Just try to even out my skin tone as much as I can before I go in with the foundation, because you'll realize you end up using a lot less product. So a little under the eyes. And my skin has been doing pretty well, but I do have just a few little spots. Now for foundations, I have been using the Makeup by Mario for months. I love it. I just started using this Patrick Ta. Sometimes I mix them together. I'm contradicting myself right now from what I said about the primers, because these are not water-based foundations, but it works for me. Trial and error. How I've been applying my foundation: pumping it on the back of my hand and working it into the brush. A makeup artist posted this on TikTok, and ever since I watched her video, it has been my go-to. It just gets beat into the brush, and this way you use a lot less product and you waste a lot less product. So I'm gonna go right in. So glowy. Don't forget to bring it down the neck. Have been loving these two. This is the new Rare Beauty liquid contour in the shade Gentle, and then this is the Too Faced melting bronzing and sculpting stick. It does exactly that. Literally melts on your skin. It smells so good. I love that this is a cooler tone. Let's go in with Too Faced. Where you apply your contour is going to either drag your face down or perk it up. I feel like a lot of tutorials tell you to bring it down into here to like I personally think that that just makes it look a little heavy over here. So I like to keep it up like that. Here, ooh, that's a lot. Right here on like the dimples of my nose, underneath my lip, because it just makes it look a little poutier. Obviously, we want to try to snatch that jawline a little bit on the nose. I like to contour before I go in with concealer, because then the concealer just kind of cleans it up. So you can be a little messier with this. Since I'm not going to go in with a full eyeshadow look, just bring it right into the eyes. So using the other side of this Makeup by Mario brush. And just start buffing it in. And again, lifting it up. Yep. I love this formula so much. Ladies, don't forget to blend up into the hairline. I don't know what it's like to be a blonde. I'm assuming it's much more difficult, but you don't want to look crazy. I go through such phases with contouring my nose because if you do it the wrong way, you make it look worse and more noticeable. But that's where the cleanup is gonna save us, trust. Moving on to blush, these are my two faves right now. Milk, this is shade Quickie, and then this is the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blush in shade She's Flushed. So what I like to do is put this when I do all my creams, and then I do powder, and then I go back in with this cream and powder duo. I know it's a lot of blush, but it's beautiful, so I think that is such a pretty color. It just reminds me of like if I squished a bunch of berries and used it to color. The best brush to blend out my blush. This one's by Rare Beauty. I like to bring it up the temple and also a little bit underneath the eye, but I like it to stop like right here. We're almost done with creams. Now, I love these two concealers. I always like having a shade that is a lot lighter for brightening, and then a shade that's almost my exact skin tone for cleaning up. And around my mouth, because I have a mustache. This is the best concealer. Doll 10 makes the TCE collection. It's a lot more full coverage than I typically wear. But if I have a pimple, this is going on it every time. Although we'll just put a little bit. Get started blending it from the corner of my lip to like the top of my ear, I want to say. And this just really carves out the face. Sorry, I'm looking at my viewfinder. My filming setup in here is not ideal, but the lighting in my bathroom is so nice. I have this little mirror from drugstore. And see how that naturally now creates that same shadow that you would have done had you brought the product all the way down here. Now you just don't have like this muddy spot. Back with this cute little concealer brush under the eye. I think the problem I used to make was putting too much concealer under my eye, thinking that was going to help cover the bags, but that just creates creasing. I take the excess to just shape that part of the nose. See how beautifully that blends out? I think something that I've learned, which is a privilege because I always would buy the cheapest brush sets that I could find. Since being gifted so many nice brushes, I feel like there really is a big difference in the way that the makeup applies itself. Eyeshadow brushes, you can really make anything work. A nice dense brush that's high quality, like these ones from Doll 10, is really gonna give you that airbrushed finish. Those are the creams. So now what I like to do is hit it with some setting spray. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Set and Refresh Spray. I feel like this just kind of combines all the creams. Then we move to powders. It's okay that it looks like I just dunked my head underwater. So give it a second. Personally, I don't like to be left super dewy, shiny. It's not my vibe. So we're gonna use some setting powder, but not all over the face. So these are the two that I have been loving. This Doll 10 is a new version of the pink powder. This one's yellow, Yellow Power Brightening Treatment Powder. I love their pink powder, and now I love this one too. And a classic Huda Pound Cake Easy Bake. So for this powder, we're gonna put it under the eyes. I take a powder puff and then I just tap off the excess. Do you see that difference already? A little powder goes a long way. The under eyes are so bright. I like to apply powder on the rest of my face with a brush instead of the powder puff. So swirl, tap off, and then I always like to set right here and over any breakouts around my mouth, my chin, the crease creases of my nose and then my T-zone. So this is just with some setting powder. I don't really wear bronzer that much lately, but if I do, it's usually from this palette. I only use a little. Then remember how I said we were coming back to the brows? Now it's time. I love this powder by Tara. I'll link all these products, by the way, in the bio. But this powder is just so amazing. It's buildable. I use it every day. It stays in place and doesn't have fallout. I also use this as wing liner. The brows are so important to your look. It's time to get some more blush over this powder and then build it onto my cheek. I never used to do cream over powder ever, but Patrick Ta said to, so now I do. Now before I get into the eyes, I need to do my lips because I can't stand looking at me without lip liner on this camera. I am absolutely obsessed with Makeup Forever lip liners. They are the only thing I've been using for months. Specifically Endless Cacao and Limitless Brown. I also love Versatile Chestnut, Anywhere Caffeine. And there's another one that is in my rotation, but love using Endless Cacao because I feel like it is contour for your lips. Set it with powder and I go back in. So Limitless Brown instead. Whatever lip oil or lipstick I'm feeling that day. Look how cute this little case that Clarins sent this lip gloss in. An iconic red. Their lip oils are insane. I want to do a really in-depth eyeshadow tutorial for the sake of an everyday. I typically would just leave it with the bronzer that I put on. Maybe a little bit of a highlighter in the inner corners. But let's just do a little smoky wing. Why not? Using the same powder I used for my brows. Load it up on the brush. What I love about a smoked out wing is that you can be a little careless with it. Different than a liquid liner, you can clean this up pretty easily. With a little dense brush, blend it, and then go back in. Using a powder puff that I don't really use on my face, I'm gonna use just to clean up because simple as that for a smoky wing. Let's do the other side. Curl the lashes. I'm very picky about my mascara. These have been my favorites lately. The Milk Kush High Roll Mascara, and then this is the Flutter Extension by Lancome. They're both great. I just love an applicator like this so much. Lately, I've only been putting mascara like on the tips of my lashes. It makes such a crazy difference to literally just put one little wispy lash cluster on the ends. Obviously, this isn't an everyday thing, but it can be if you want it to be. I like to glue them underneath instead of on top. A little bit of glue on the upper side of the lash, and then you just stick it right under. Lashes. Something new that I've been doing, I have never done the fake freckles, but I got this Build-A-Brow scent from Maybelline. And it has such a fine point that the other day I was covering up some of my blemishes, using this to kind of disguise them as freckles, and I realized maybe I will start adding a few freckles. Just worried that they'll look like little blackheads or something, I don't know. I see how people can get carried away with the freckles because you just start with a few and then you're like, oh, let me add a few more. This little iconic London illuminator, I have probably had this for way past its expiration, but I absolutely love it. It's because you need just a teeny tiny bit of this. It goes a long way. Get it on my finger. Brighten up the inner corner. I love this stuff. Final setting spray. If you want to, sometimes I take a little bit of the complexion stick and put it in the center of the lips. So this is the final look. I'd wear this on showings, which I'm gonna do today. I'd wear it out to dinner, to drinks. It's a very universal look. And those are some of my absolute favorite products. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, feel free to comment below and let me know what other kinds of videos you'd like to see. I definitely want to go full glam on the next one. But I love this. Like and subscribe. Love you guys. See you in the next one.